Hello! Today I'm going to talk to you about lower back and hip pain. Now this can be something that comes along when you've had to sit down for long periods of time. So by now many of you might starting to feel it creeping up. So there's a few muscles that are involved in all this sort of equation. And the first one I'm going to talk to you about is known as the QL muscle, which is the quadratus lumborum, to give it its full name. This muscle runs between the lower ribs and the pelvis at the back. So I'm just going to show you a picture. Okay, so you can see from this drawing, this is looking at the back of somebody. So this is the lower rib, this is the top of your pelvis. So it's quite a strong, deep muscle that runs between the two. And it often has trigger points on it. And trigger points are basically sore bits on the muscle. If you push, it will feel sore under your finger. And the thing about trigger points is that they often refer pain to somewhere else. So if you find a sore bit and suddenly you feel pain where you're not really expecting it, that's coming from the bit that you're pushing under your finger, but it's referring pain elsewhere. So with the QL muscle, it can refer pain to all sorts of lovely places. Again, I'm going to show you another picture. On here you can see these red areas show where the QL muscle can refer pain to. So it can go around the top of the hip, it can go right around the buttock here and over onto the side of the leg as well. So don't be surprised if those areas start to hurt when you find a sore spot where you're pushing in. And it's quite all right, you're not going to do any damage. And the idea of trigger points is that you push for about 10 to 12 seconds and then you should feel a change. It normally feels a little bit less intense, and you know that's when it's starting to release its tension. So trigger points for the QL. If you stand up and have your hands like this over your lower ribs and just have your thumbs around the back. So I'm going to turn around to show you what I mean. Start off with your thumbs, find your spine, and then move out to the side. You're going to go, you've got these raised squidgy bits of muscle here. You're going to go outside of them, and as it goes down and in again, that's where your QL muscle is. So you can find it, and it's right up under this rib is often a place for trigger points. So if you find a sore point as you dig your thumbs in here, just hold it for about 10 to 12 seconds. You might feel pain referring around your hip or down your buttocks. You can have a fish around. There's one. That's not very nice, just there on the right side. So just hold it. I can feel this pain going down to the top side of my hip. You just hold it, and it will gradually, it's just starting to ease off now. So as you saw from the picture, the muscle actually extends from here down to here. So you can find all the way down if there are any sore points, and just wherever you find one, just hold down with your thumb and wait. And that's basically how you treat trigger points. They often happen in this muscle when you're having to sit down a lot, and possibly you're not sitting up straight. If you're kind of slumped to one side or crossed your legs or something like that, then often you're putting one side under more strain than the other. And when that happens, that's when trigger points can start to build up. Okay, so the next few muscles I want to talk to you about with regards to lower back pain are the glute muscles. They're the ones in your bottom. I'm going to show you a picture so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the big one on the top. You see it covers that whole big area, basically all the back of the pelvis. And you've got two smaller ones underneath that, which sit more round at the side there. The picture of those are here. So you've got this one and this one, so more round on the hip. So to treat the glute muscles, the best way forward is to get yourself some kind of ball, like a tennis ball that's not too squashy, a nice firm tennis ball, or one of those bouncy balls that kids have or your dog uses or something like that. And I'm going to show you what to do with the ball next. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to use your tennis ball or bouncy ball or whatever you've got to try and release some tension out of your glute muscles. So you need to be lying down. Nathan here's on the massage table, but actually it's much better if you can lie on the floor rather than a bed or anything, because the floor's a bit firmer, so you'll feel the effects much better. So what you need to do is place this tennis ball anywhere underneath your hip bone, anywhere in the whole buttock area that might feel a little bit sore where the ball is pushing into it. So if you just raise yourself up, place the ball and roll back down on it, and just move it around with your own hands as to where feels better. And you can take your time over this. There's probably a few different areas that might feel a little bit sore. And to get to the glutes round at the side, you need to do it from a side lying position. So Nathan here is up on his left side. So I'm just going to ask him to raise your hips off the table, and you can place the ball underneath between the hip and the floor. And the same thing as lying on your back, just wait and try and find some areas that might be a little bit sore. Wait for 10 to 12 seconds until the soreness just ebbs away a little bit. And you can work your way around all these trigger points and hopefully relieve your lower back pain in the process. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some stretches after you've done your work with the tennis ball. It's quite nice to stretch out the whole area. Makes it feel much better afterwards. So first of all, we're going to do a stretch for the glute muscles. So Nathan here is lying on his back with his knees up, which is probably more comfortable if you are in a bit of lower back pain. Don't worry about having your legs flat on the floor. And what I'm going to ask Nathan to do is to move one leg at a time. Just move your right leg up towards your chest. And as it nears your chest, Nathan, could you hold your knee with both hands and just pull it down as close onto your chest as you can. And you need to hold that stretch for a good minute if you can, just to really iron out all the creases. Anything less than a minute doesn't quite do as good a job. The other thing you can do is slightly hold the knee again, Nathan, and just pull it down to your chest again, and then just slightly pull it over to the middle of you. That's it, over to the midline, and that will just stretch the glutes more round at the side. The first one stretched the main big one over the top. Okay, and let that leg go down. Okay, now another couple of stretches that will be useful for lower back pain. The first one is to stretch out your hamstrings, particularly if you've had to sit down for long periods of time doing your work. They get squashed and really quite tetchy. So what you need to do is raise one leg up into the air, but keeping your knee a little bit bent, and taking both hands and hold just below your knee on this side. Now you can try straightening your leg as much as possible, but still keep it slightly bent, unless it's not at all painful, in which case you might want to straighten it altogether. But a bent knee is still fine. And again, hold it for a good minute and then release it back down again. And another one which is very nice stretch to do is a twist. So you're going to bend both legs up at the knee, and you're going to flop them out to one side. So if Nathan goes over to the left side, and with the opposite arm, just have that opening up nicely over there. And you can keep these knees down to that side with your other hand. Just make sure it's pushing them down, and hold that for a minute, and then obviously then you'll want to do the other side as well.